37-3 Michigan last year, but Rice is quicker and faster this year. What do you expect from them today?
Well, I expect what anybody that knows in college football expects against a great football coach, Ken Hatfield. He'll have them ready to go, and they'll run the football, try to possess the ball and the clock, and keep our offense off the field.
And your words of wisdom to your players moments ago?
Well, I think anytime you play at home, you want to take control of a football game, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. But this is a good football team we're playing.
Thank you for your time. Best of luck. Lloyd Carr, our guest, 37-3 last year, but Rice is expecting a closer game this year as well. Let's get to the guys who called the game, Wayne and Randy.
Thank you very much, Jim Barber. There is Ken Hatfield, now in his 7th season at Rice. He's had an opportunity to redshirt a lot of these kids in the program. They're getting bigger, stronger down there at Rice, and his program is becoming entrenched, and they're one of the better programs in the Western Athletic Conference. Wolverines and Owls set to go. 82 degrees. Hazy skies overhead. And just a bit humid, as you would expect in early September. Hayden Epstein will kick it away for the Michigan Wolverines. 4 into the end zone a week ago. Just about set to get underway. Dropping back deep. Kenny Smith, the cornerback for the Owls. We're underway. Kenny Smith about 5 yards deep, maybe more, in the end zone. Will accept. At the 20-yard line, the Rice Owls take the field offensively. Corey Evans, the junior, Richardson, Texas. On in relief of the injured Jeremy Hurd a week ago, 1 of 7 in the air against Houston. But his 19-yard run of the 4th quarter set up the game-tying touchdown with just under 2:30 to go in that overtime win. Snap is fumbled, recovered by the Wolverines. Evan Coleman able to gather it in. Wow.
Well, exactly what Rice did not want to have happen. Come in here, have a bad play like that. Just a simple quarterback exchange. Looked like it was a good snap. Maybe Evans was pulling out a little bit early. Last year it was special teams and turnovers that got Rice down early. Here again this year, first play turnover.
The redshirt freshman John Navarre. Talk about field position. 1st and 10 at the 18. The A-Train Anthony Thomas. Advanced Auto Parts starting lineups. Let's take a look at them. The Michigan offensive line is led by number 76 Steve Hutchinson, a 5th-year senior and All-America. Meanwhile, the Rice nose guard B.J. Ferguson along with Larry Brown inside offer size on a smallish defensive line. Wolverine skill position people give a lot of help to this quarterback John Navarre. David Terrell is at the bottom of your screen. Ronald Bellamy in motion. He caught 2 TD passes a week ago. 2nd down. Thomas again. Gaping hole. Touchdown, Michigan. Fumbled snap to Anthony Thomas. Runs later, and the Wolverines have a 6-0 lead. It couldn't go any better for Michigan. Couldn't go any worse for that man, Ken Hatfield and his Rice Owls.
Now you take a look at what Michigan wants, and this is just pure power. There you see Kenny Smith, number 9 for Rice, trying to stand up to Anthony Thomas. And Thomas, when he gets a full head of steam going like that, just runs him over and bowls into the end zone.
Hayden Epstein drills the point after. The Michigan Wolverines out early over the Rice Owls.
Welcome to Ann Arbor. Hope you enjoy yourself in Ann Arbor. Another beautiful football Saturday. Drink plenty of fluid.
It is warm and humid here in Michigan. Officer Tom at the corner of East Stadium Boulevard and Main Street. Familiar face outside Michigan Stadium. Folks that are still filing in have already missed the first touchdown of the game.
Got to get here on time to watch these Wolverines.
Hayden Epstein's kickoff, and again Kenny Smith watches this time as it sails through the end zone. Rice again will take it to the 20-yard line. Mishandled snap led to a Michigan fumble recovery at the 18-yard line. 2 plays later, a 10-yard touchdown run by Anthony Thomas. The advanced auto parts starting lineups, and again on that Rice offensive line, Rod Bevan, perhaps the most experienced and decorated. Michigan defensive line, Eric Wilson, provides the experience that they normally don't have up front on this particular line. This is a rather new Michigan defense, but Wilson is the veteran. Evans able to keep, got by Coleman, maybe a yard out to the 21 or 22-yard line. Eric Wilson made the stop. The rest of the advanced auto parts lineups. Leroy Bradley, 49 yards last week against Houston in the option offense. James Whitley plays on the corner and is gunning for the Thorpe Award. Larry Foote very busy last week. You could imagine he'll be busy against this option-oriented attack here today as well.
Wayne, we've seen Rice run 2 plays, and both times they've had a mistake. That play, the fullback goes the wrong way. When the fullback goes the wrong way, there's no fake to hold the inside of that defense.
Adrian Sadler, senior from New Boston, Texas, on the carry. Sadler missed last week with a leg injury. 3-year starter at cornerback. They moved him over to the offensive backfield to try to give the offense a big play dimension.
And he's one that they are going to need to get into the flow early. He brings some experience, as you said, a 3-year starter. He's a faster back than maybe some of the other backs. So you're going to see some runs like we just saw outside. That time picked up the first down.
Broken bone. They've got Sadler on the wing. Evans on the roll. Gavin Booth had 3 catches a week ago, unable to haul that one in. Let's go back to Studio 66. Mike Gleason.
Well, Wayne, Louisiana Tech, Penn State, Happy Valley. The law of averages would say Penn State has to pick up a victory, right? Well, it's early, but more bad news. Brian Stallworth of Louisiana Tech to Sean Cangelosi. Touchdown. Louisiana Tech on the board first. This followed up a Rashard Casey fumble. And right now, it's Louisiana Tech on top of Penn State, 7-0. Let's go back to Ann Arbor with Wayne and Randy.
Thank you, Mike. I believe La Tech beat Alabama last year, didn't they?
They've got a nice passing attack.
Getting to the outside, Leroy Bradley. Gain of about 6 yards to the 37-yard line. Charles Drake made the stop. Drake, a former Michigan running back, but when you've got a stable of running backs as deep as they have here in Ann Arbor, you'll more than gladly go to the defensive side to get on the field.
You're going to find another place to play to get you on the field. And I think we're going to see a lot of that today, Wayne. We're going to see the defensive backs coming up and making tackles, whether it's the option with the pitch from the quarterback or the sweep, which is what Rice just ran. You need your safeties to get involved in the running game.
There's the base wishbone. Evans a little hesitant. Covered up for no gain. Middle of the Michigan defense, Grant Bowman in on that stop. Eric Wilson, Julius Curry also there.
The best way to defend the option is to get penetration inside quickly. There, the fullback slipped as he fell down. When Evans pulled the ball out, there was no place for him to go because the fullback was right in his way. That allowed the Michigan interior defense to get there and stop the play for no gain.
It is 4th down. Travis Hale comes on last week. 38-yard average on 4 punts. He's a sophomore from Duncanville, Texas. Ronald Bellamy from the 15. How about this? One man to beat, and that one man brings him down. Travis Hale, the punter, brought him down after a 48-yard return. Michigan starts in enemy territory for the 2nd time this afternoon. Opening 3 minutes of this first quarter, Michigan already on top and threatening for more thanks to a wonderful punt return here by Ronald Bellamy.
This is exactly how you draw it up. One quick move right there. Look at the alley there. Bellamy just uses his speed, follows his blockers. Just had the one man to beat the punter, and a shoestring tackle there saves the touchdown.
First down, Michigan, 36-yard line, Rice territory. Navarre's first pass of the day. Terrell, first down and goal to go. Hebert and McMillan bring him down, 29-yard gain.
Wayne, when you've got great field position, it opens things up for your offensive coordinator to take some of these chances. Excellent protection there, and when you're throwing the ball to a 6'3" receiver, you throw it high. Terrell's got that big body, screens the defenders off, makes a nice catch.
They were very good in the red zone a week ago. Anthony Thomas, not a whole lot there off the left side of the Michigan offensive line. Gain of maybe 2 yards. Brandon Green, the defensive end, had a couple of sacks last week, and the win over Houston for the Rice Owls made the stop.
Michigan trying to run behind the strength of what I think is their entire team, that offensive line with Jeff Backus and Steve Hutchinson, David Brandt at center. These guys have started more games than anybody on the entire team, and they all play in the offensive line.
Second and goal to go at the 6. Short set by Navarre. Marquise Walker, touchdown. Good catch by Walker. That pass, a bullet thrown a bit behind him. 6-yard touchdown, and they beat Josh McMillan on the slant.
Boy, you called it, Wayne. What an excellent catch by Walker. When you're going the same direction, he's coming towards the quarterback. When that ball is thrown behind you, as that was, that's a very difficult catch. And Walker went up there, wisely caught it with his hands instead of his body, and hauled it in a lot of traffic. Nice play.
Hayden Epstein for the point after. A shaky start for Rice. An explosive start for the third-ranked Michigan Wolverines. 3 plays, 36 yards. Michigan by 14 early. Talk about starts. Marquise Walker's got 2 catches this season, Randy, both for touchdowns.
Hey, he's almost as good as Navarre with his touchdown percentage. Take a look, a nice throw, a little bit behind, but had a lot of zip on it. Walker goes up and just makes a great catch. How about those targets to throw to with Terrell and Walker, both of them 6'3", 212, 213 pounds.
If you go to a 3-receiver set, you bring in Ronald Bellamy. He had a couple of TD catches last week. Wow, talk about depth. Hayden Epstein set to resume the game, and Smith back deep. Epstein, good strong high kick, this time returnable from the goal line. Smith as a hold, slipped and fell. Penalty markers are down, maybe for a hold or an illegal block against the Rice Owls.
Rice needs to settle down a little bit here, Wayne. They almost need to, as you see the signal there, it will be against Rice. They almost need to forget what the score is. Take a look, see if we can be right there. Number 42 blocking in the back. Will push Rice back inside their 20.
During the return, illegal block in the back on the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
If you're Rice now, you're backed up inside your own 10-yard line, and Kenny Hatfield there needs to settle his team and his quarterback down. You almost need to forget what the score is here and just go out and run some plays and get something going that you have confidence in, which for Rice is the triple option.
Too much of this game is being played in Rice end of the field.
By their defense.
Both sides.
By Rice's defense in their own end of the field.
Well, they haven't touched Michigan's side of the field yet. First down from the 7. Inside handoff, not a whole lot there. Boy, that Michigan defense just clogging everything inside. Foot in on that tackle, and of course they got help from the defensive line as well. Michigan Stadium on a hazy, sunshiny day. Rice taking on third-ranked Michigan. Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber with us on the sidelines. Second down off a gain of a couple for the Rice Owls.
When you hear about the option being assignment football defensively, somebody's got the quarterback, somebody the fullback, somebody the pitchback. Kind of like one-on-one in basketball.
Little quarterback draw, that's going nowhere. Corey Evans decked down the field for a loss of 1. Mike Gleason, what's happening up at Happy Valley?
Well, Wayne, the Nittany Lions came up with the equalizer. Rashard Casey fumbled, of course, set up Louisiana Tech touchdown. Well, Eric McCoo said that's enough. McCoo breaks it off the left side. He goes 24 yards. This sets up a Casey to McCoo 6-yard touchdown pass. So right now in Happy Valley, Penn State, Louisiana Tech all tied at 7-7. 7:06 to go in the first. Let's go back to Ann Arbor.
Boy, it has been a strange season indeed to see Penn State sitting there 0-2 and in a battle with Louisiana Tech on the 3rd week of the season.
And I think, as we talked earlier, Louisiana Tech, with their passing attack, they can score some points.
Rice almost 50% on 3rd downs a week ago. They try to get to the edge. Evans with the pitch. Oh, man, I'll tell you something. Anthony Griffin got his bell rung as he made that turn. Howard and Curry on the stop for Michigan.
Well, when you run the option to the short side of the field, you have to pitch the ball early to give your back a little bit of time to turn up the field. Watch how late this pitch goes. Griffin is stuck by the sideline there, and then he's got to just duck his head. Boy, he takes a hit. Curry just throws him backwards.
In effect, he stepped out of bounds just as Curry got there.
Sometimes you step out of bounds, you know it yourself, and you relax and you give up. The defense doesn't see it. They don't hear their whistle, and that's where the pop comes.
Michigan to get good field position once again. Bellamy waiting for this kick at the 48-yard line of Michigan, and now penalty markers hold up the play. Whistles, I should say, really hold up the play.
Too much time here against Rice.
One of the things we talked to the coaches about, here's David Whitbett.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, 5 yards. The down remains 4.
Last night in talking to Kenny Hatfield and his offensive and defensive coordinators, the point was raised that most of these kids for Rice were here last fall. They've seen Michigan Stadium. They've seen the whole experience of 110,000. And I'm a little surprised they've come out as shaky as they have.
Well, they're starting a quarterback that hadn't started a lot of games, and when you have mistakes early, that can kind of be contagious. And I agree with you. Kenny Hatfield felt his team would show a little more composure early here, but the mistakes that have been contagious have led to just more and more negatives.
Michigan will start at the 47-yard line of Rice. Let's take a look and take a moment to thank our Big Ten corporate partners. Value City. Kemper Funds, long-term investing in a short-term world. And 7-Up. Third opportunity for the Michigan offense, all of which have come in enemy territory. Navarre off play action. Terrell is there. To the 27-yard line of Rice, where Greg Gatlin makes the stop. Jim Barber, what do you have for us?
It's a great start for Terrell and a great start for Navarre. And concerning what happened last week, things are going okay this week. Last week, he and his 2 backups had trouble getting to the meetings on Friday night, not because they were late, but because they're freshmen. They didn't know where to go. Stan Parrish apparently got everybody in shape, and he said, boy, I tell you what, if we're going to have that problems, we're going to have other problems, but that's not been the case so far.
Yeah, the kids had never stayed overnight before a game at the hotel. They didn't know where to go. That's how young they are. A-Train. Touchdown! A runaway train heading downhill. Anthony Thomas, 27 yards. He left Jason Hebert, Kenny Smith in his wake.
We've seen how these Michigan receivers have caught the ball, but they are excellent blockers. There, David Terrell seals and gives Thomas the corner and just stays in bounds right there and gets into the end zone with a push at the end. And that's one thing about these wide receivers for Michigan. They're excellent catchers, excellent blockers.
Extra point is good. Anthony Thomas, 40th career touchdown run. Take a look at the A-Train last week. Very similar to what he just did a moment ago.
Well, Michigan wants to run the football. Last week was the first time in over a year that they had more yards on the ground than they had through the air.
And this is the one that looked like just the latest touchdown. Thomas stiff-arming his way past the defender.
You take a look again. Watch this, the stiff arm right there. Just creates the room. just stays in bounds there and gets into the end zone. And with Anthony Thomas, with as many backs as Michigan has, Thomas is the one that is their all-purpose back. He can run inside, he can run outside, excellent receiver. He's their go-to for everything.
Michigan has run 7 plays offensively here today. Time of possession just 1:35, 3 touchdowns. As you get a look at Anthony Thomas moving up on the career touchdown list.
Well, with those 3 touchdowns, they haven't had very far to go with any of their drives.
White back deep to receive this kick from Epstein. Sean White takes it deep in the end zone. Hayden Epstein has one powerful leg, doesn't he?
Well, he seems like he's been here forever, too. He's just a junior.
I think he hits driver exclusively. He doesn't have a wedge in that bag.
And if I had a driver like that, I think I'd hit that, too.
I think if you had a driver like that, I'd be caddying for you, and you'd be playing in some senior event by now. First down from the 20-yard line for the Rice Owls, who desperately need to get something going, at least possess the football.
Do something they have a little confidence in.
2 wide receivers. Inside handoff. No, the fake by Evans. He's got a first down as he tumbles out across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Dwayne Patman made the stop. 13-yard gain. Corey Evans, the only quarterback on the roster coming into the fall drills with any varsity experience, having seen action in 3 games last year.
Wayne, this is the first play that really has looked in rhythm for Rice. It was a nice fake inside, came out. The man assigned to Evans was sucked in to the fake, and there was nobody there. That play looked like Rice would like all their option plays to look.
Here's the pitch to Griffin. Good speed to the corner. Nice play defensively by Jeremy LeSueur across the 40-yard line. Take a look at where the offense went against Houston. Running to the right side, Randy, that'll tell you that pretty much most teams are right-handed and run to the strong side where the tight end usually is on the right.
Well, especially when your quarterback is right-handed, that's where your pitch is going to be. You see 30 plays will run to the inside. You have to run those inside plays to bring that defense in, so you won't run as many to the outside, but that's where your bigger plays will come from.
Griffin once again. This time, the linebacker, Larry Foote. The coaches talked about him. He's brought his concentration to another level. Very active last week, very prepared. He's moving in for Ian Gold, who departed, graduated last May, and now is playing in the NFL.
Foote's not a real big guy to be playing inside linebacker. He's 6'1", 228 pounds, and he has got to step up. There really isn't a big-name leader on that Michigan defense. There's no Charles Woodson. There's no Rob Renis. There are a bunch of no-names out there that play very well as a unit, but the whole is definitely more important than the parts.
3rd and 3. Weber and Booth at the top of your screen. Evans on the option. Great play by Grant Bowman, who, Randy, appeared to follow his assignment to a T and blew off that play. The nose guard for Michigan.
But it looked like Evans had a little alley inside. He wanted to take it on the 3rd and short, but Bowman was there, shut that off, forced Evans to go to the outside. By that time, the rhythm had been destroyed, and there was no place for Evans to pitch the ball. Therefore, Rice is in a punting situation.
It was the interior people, Rob Renis and Josh Williams, last year in this game for Michigan, both of whom have graduated, that really destroyed Rice inside, and Ken Hatfield was still talking about it last night.
He was telling us how happy he was that they were gone. I don't think he's any happier with what he's seeing out there today.
That one backed up a little bit on Travis Hale, out of bounds, no return. Michigan starts for the first time on offense this afternoon in their own territory. They begin this drive at the Michigan 35, 26-yard punt. Next week, couple of games for you. Check your local listings. We will be at Miami, Ohio State. Some will see Iowa State in that intra-state battle. Jim Barber, matter of fact, will be down there in Iowa City to call that game. Jim is patrolling the sidelines here today for us. We'll hear from him. First down, Michigan. Askew, the fullback, in motion. Anthony Thomas. roped down as he tried to escape to the outside. Dan Dawson is a junior from Bauxite, Arkansas. Last week, 9 tackles, 5 solos against Houston.
You know, Wayne, talking to Lloyd Carr, one of the things he said with Michigan's schedule being usually a very tough non-conference schedule, they haven't been able to play a lot of the young players early in the year. With their win last week and with a 21-0 lead now, you're going to see Michigan play a lot of different players, give them some of that experience as the season goes on, will benefit them.
Terrell got by McMillan, ushered to the chalk marks on the far side by Dawson, the linebacker. Very close to a first down. They're about 1.5 yards short. You
know, that's one thing that Lloyd Carr said why Michigan has always gotten better as the year has gone on, because it takes a while for their players that don't start to get some of that experience. This year, not necessarily that much of a softer non-conference schedule with UCLA next week, but they're playing very well, scoring points early, which has helped them and will help them.
Michigan's been very good on third down. Thomas slipped for only a moment, and he picks up the first down. Gain of about 14 yards on the play. McMillan made the stop.
Boy, when you have an offensive line like Michigan has with Backus and Hutchinson and David Brandt, their senior leaders, then Ben Mast and Maurice Williams, 4 seniors out of those 5, you can just do whatever you want. It's really helped John Navarre, gives him plenty of time to stand back there, gives him the confidence to stand back there, and look at the holes that they're opening up for Anthony Thomas.
School's back in session at Michigan Stadium. First down. Inside handoff. Boy, Thomas just shredding people up the middle. Down near the 27. Quick 16-yard gain. McMillan and Gatlin getting a workout in the secondary of the Rice Owls.
Take a look at Askew there, number 35, leading the way. Takes on a nice block, knocks his man off of his feet, and that gives Thomas the vision to see where the other tacklers or would-be tacklers are coming from. And boy, once that A train gets going, it is hard to bring him down with an arm tackler or with just one defender.
First down from the 27. Walter Cross for the first time today, dancing through a hole. And he picked up about 10 yards. Hebert made the stop in the secondary of the Rice Owls. The safeties, Travis Ortega and Jason Hebert, are considered to be the strength of the Rice defense. These are 2 well-decorated safeties. Matter of fact, Ortega is the reigning WAC Defensive Player of the Week.
And they're very active, good size. They come up and get involved in the running game a lot. And the way today's going, they're going to lead this team in tackles because they're the ones that have had to come up and make the stop on the running backs.
Walter Cross covered up. Travis Ortega was there. Clint Johnson helped out. Short gain, if any. And Michigan's second down in a rare long situation.
Well, you know, it's almost not fair. You see Anthony Thomas, who has chewed up large chunks of yards with the inside and outside game, and he comes out, you think you're going to get a breather, then you face Walter Cross, who is a very sound, do everything back in his own right. Then he gets tired, and now you got Thomas back in when he's rested.
And they still haven't unveiled Justin Fargas here today yet.
We could go on for a quarter and a half with what they've got in terms of depth there.
Navarre hit in the backfield, able to find his man over the middle near the 10-yard line, short of the first down. Benny Jopru on the reception. McMillan and Richard Pittman combine on the stop. And a gain of about 5 yards. Take a look at it again.
Nice presence of mind by John Navarre. He sees a man coming right at him, unblocked, sidesteps him, and keeps his eyes focused on the receiver he wants to go through. A lot of times young quarterbacks will lose that poise. Not Navarre on that play. Of course, being 6'6" helps being able to withstand that oncoming rusher.
Navarre. Walker, touchdown.
You can just see and sense the confidence growing in this young quarterback as every completion just gives him more confidence to stand in that pocket and throw bullets. And with receivers like Terrell and Walker making catches like that, that's quarterback's dream.
Epstein for the point after. Well, he tied a Michigan record with 4 TD passes last week. He may obliterate that record here today.
Well, he's got great protection. A nice move by Walker to get open, and when you've got receivers that are that tall, you throw the ball high. And I'm impressed with the ability of Walker and Terrell to be able to go up and bring those balls down.
Back to take a look at, again, we mentioned Navarre last week with the 4 TD passes already, and we still have 2:39 to go first quarter. He's got 2 touchdown passes here today.
Well, I think he's had plenty of time to throw, and as much as Michigan wants to focus on the run, they also want to give him a little confidence, give him some experience. Now, when Drew Henson comes back, you don't know what the situation is going to be or when he's going to be back. He was having a wonderful camp before he had the hurt foot. But regardless, it's going to give Navarre that much more experience with what he's gaining in these first several games. So they're going to give him those looks. They're going to keep throwing the ball and let him gain from that experience and see those different defenses. Michigan has set a first quarter record in Michigan football history with the 28 points they have on the board now. Epstein. Here comes Bradley. LeSueur got over to cut him off. Meanwhile, we talk about John Navarre, the guy who was scheduled to start this season at Michigan, and perhaps for this season and next, Drew Henson. Not playing due to a foot injury. He's expected back perhaps sometime in October, Randy, depending on how the healing process goes. But this is the kid who was the All-American candidate quarterback here. And as we said, was having a great camp, expected big things this year. He's basically on a week-to-week. They don't know when he'll be back, but this offense hasn't missed a beat without him. Evans led his receiver, Gavin Booth, just a bit too much underneath the coverage of Jeremy LeSueur. And it'll be second down. One thing back to Henson, Wayne, is he is a much more complete quarterback. He's a little more mature because he's got some experience, and he's a better runner. Navarre, strictly a drop back passer. He's got a gun for an arm. Got very good touch for a guy with as strong an arm, but he doesn't move out of the pocket, doesn't do some of those things as well. Henson is got every bit as good an arm, yet he brings the mobile feet to that position. Second and 10. Beck, the freshman, busting through for a gain of almost 10. He fumbled the football. The play had been whistled dead. It will be Rice football. Marshall, Michigan State getting underway up in East Lansing. Mike Gleason, what can you tell us about it?
Well, Wayne, the Michigan State Spartans, the regular season debut for Bobby Williams at Michigan State. Ryan Van Dyke goes upstairs for the first score. This one goes to Chris Baker. Near sidelines, lumbers in, 37 yards, 7-0. But the Thundering Herd has come back to tie it now with 4:06 to go. They are tied at 7-7 in East Lansing. Let's go back to Wayne and Randy.
There are 4 games today on the Big Ten slate involving MAC schools against Big Ten schools. First down for Rice. Griffin trying to get around the end, and boy, I tell you something, the assignment football has been pretty good on the Michigan defensive side. They have followed it to a T. I'd say if this were a test, Michigan's getting an A+ right now. They have read their assignments well. Go back to what you were talking about with the 4 teams from the MAC conference playing Big Ten schools. Lloyd Carr referred to that when he was talking about, 20 years ago, there were 20 more scholarships per team. And when you have 11 teams in the Big Ten, 220 fewer scholarships the Big Ten teams can give out now. Those players have to go somewhere. Most of them have gone to the MAC, and that conference is much better than it used to be. Second down. Evans. Boy, he just kept going. Kept coming across the field, Randy, and it looked like a blue picket fence in front of him. He just could not get the corner. Jordan made the stop on that play. Michigan, very good quickness in this defense. Maybe not the experience they had last year, but boy, they make up for it with their athletic ability and quickness. Absolutely. Jim Herman, their defensive coordinator, said this is one of the fastest defenses that he has had. They don't have the big name players or the big name leaders yet. That will develop as the season goes on. But he loves this speed and he likes the personality. They like to practice. They want to get better. Third down, Evans going over the top for Booth. Pass well overthrown. Both pretty well covered by Jeremy Lasser. And it's 4th down for the Rice Owls. Half a minute to go in this first quarter.
Jeremy Lasser, one of the young freshmen that we talked about, Michigan, with this lead, gets a chance to play some of those kids in there, and he's one of them that they think is going to be awfully good.
Now, there's a lot of talk. Will they bring David Terrell over from offense to play some cornerback for them? And Lloyd Carr says, we really don't have to this year. We've got 4 good corners we feel real good about on defense. And maybe if Drew Brees and Purdue come in here and spread them out, they might bring Terrell over to cover a receiver. Bellamy back deep to receive this punt. Bellamy from the 25. Out across the 30-yard line where he stormed back. Time for a play or two left in this first quarter. 39-yard punt, 7-yard return. Now, how many years have they been playing football here at Michigan?
A lot.
Longer than you or I care to remember, but take a look at this. This is a record-breaking day for a first quarter in Michigan football history.
That is surprising. I would have thought somewhere along there they would have scored more than 28 points in the first quarter. Of course, they don't play a lot of patsies here. They don't play a lot of patsies here.
No, they don't. Justin Fargas, first carry of the day, is turned back in the middle of that Rice defensive line as time winds down in this first quarter. What a start for the Michigan Wolverines and John Navarre. 110,000 on hand here at Michigan Stadium. And so far, the reviews are good. The A-Train has picked it up. He's hit the end zone twice to lead Michigan to a 28-0 lead. Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber back at Michigan Stadium. Big time start for the 3rd-ranked Wolverines, and Anthony Thomas has shown us the complete package. Speed and power here today.
Well, you know what you've got with Anthony Thomas and with that offensive line. The question has been John Navarre, and he certainly stepped up and answered that in a very positive way.
10th multiple touchdown game in the career of Anthony Thomas. Navarre to the air. Hit from behind. Penalty markers are down. Michigan recovers the fumble. The center, David Brandt, able to get on the football.
That ball was just stripped free. I think instead of a flag, that was the marker the official was throwing to signal the fumble there. See him go over there and pick that up.
Picked up the beanbag, yeah.
Holding Navarre up. We'll see if we can see who this is, as this ball is just stripped free. Right there, you can just see it.
That's Brandon Green.
Brandon Green just reaches in, holds him up, pulls it away, and David Grant wisely and alertly jumps on it, keeps the ball in Michigan's possession.
Brandon Green had 2 sacks last week. The coach is very high on him. They feel he'll be a great player for Rice. Navarre, not sure if there was a misread there. Tight end unable to get open. Benny Joffre. Let's take a look at the Buick first quarter stats. Weighted heavily in favor, as you might imagine, of the Michigan Wolverines.
Well, you look at the 20-plus yard plays, 4 of them, and with 4 of them and total yards only 167. Boy, tells you you've got some big plays. Some of those in the passing game as well as the running game.
Navarre's miss on 3rd down was his first of the day. Catch made by Hebert, made the first man, and the second man missed. Penalty marker is down. This is not a beanbag, it is a flag. Hebert made a good move to get by Justin Fargas.
We'll see if they're going to call Fargas for being too close within that 2-yard range and interference.
Watch this again.
He looks like he backs away and had plenty of room.
2-yard radius violation by the kicking team. The penalty is declined. First down.
Opening minute, second quarter. Michigan, thanks to a good first quarter, leading comfortably.
We
welcome you back to Michigan Stadium for Big Ten football. And a sellout crowd as usual on hand. Third-ranked Michigan playing host to Rice. Along with Jim Barber and Randy Wright, I'm Wayne Larrabee, and it's great to have you with us on this hazy, sunshiny afternoon. 1 minute gone by, second quarter. The Rice Owls, their best field position to start a drive by far today. At the Rice 41, the inside handoff. Jamie Tyler, the junior from Austin, Texas, a fullback who missed last week with a hamstring injury. It's the call. On the sidelines is Jim Barber. Jim.
Wayne, you mentioned earlier about this team being bigger, the Rice team, than last year. The team that faced Michigan, it is bigger, and Ken Hatfield acknowledged that much last night in our meetings with him. But he also said it's all relative. This may be our biggest team at Rice, but it's probably the smallest team Michigan will face all season.
All right, very well may be. That interior line, they go 6'2", 278. That's rather light on the offensive line in this day and age. Straight wishbone on second down. The fake of the inside handoff. Here comes the pitch. Bradley on the carry across midfield for a first down to the Michigan 47. Charles Drake made the stop. 9-yard gain.
Nice job by Evans stringing this option out. When you get a good fake inside, you get around that first rush, then you bring the secondary to you get the ball outside to Bradley, and then it's one-on-one, and now you give the offensive back a chance to get some momentum and speed.
Randy, as I see it with an option, the quarterback not only has to be a good athlete and very quick, he's got to be a great decision maker, and the timing of his decision makes or breaks the play.
Quickly, you've got to make the right decision very quickly.
On the bone, inside handoff, Jamie Tyler crashing off right guard inside the Michigan 45 to the 43. Jim Barber?
I think Randy said earlier, Rice has got to do something positive, Wayne, and they have. They've crossed midfield, and they said that's not a big deal. But as you relate back to last year's pounding by Michigan here, it was only one time across the 50-yard line that Rice went. That was late in the game, and eventually they managed a field goal. So I guess you take these small victories when you can get them.
Absolutely. Corey Evans led that particular drive you're talking about. Evans had 72 yards on 10 carries here at Michigan Stadium last year. Adrian Sadler. Nice little hesitation move to get by the first man, and then is steered out of bounds by Dwayne Patman. Man he beat to the corner, Carl Diggs.
This is what Rice needs to do to be successful, inside and outside. We saw the one option play to Bradley where he picked up the first down, came to the outside. You saw the inside run to Tyler for some success. This time Evans back to the outside. Nice athletic move right there by Sadler to turn what could have been a negative yardage play into a gain.
And now a more manageable third down situation coming up for Ken Hatfield and company. David Lee, the offensive coordinator. They have not converted yet today on third down. Evans. Bradley, first down and more. Inside the Michigan 30-yard line. Whitley and Patman made the stop, gain of 12.
When you run the option to the wide side of the field, the key for the quarterback, hold the ball as long as you can. Make that defense commit. Here, take a look at Evans. Pitches it right at the last minute, right as number 15, Patman, had already committed. Then he can't come off of you and also get the pitch back.
David Lee talked about his quarterbacks. He likes to get a guy who's #1 fast and can pressure a defense on the perimeter. He'll teach him how to throw. If he doesn't know how to throw that well, he'll teach him.
And if he doesn't teach him well how to throw, that's okay, because they don't throw a lot.
Inside handoff, and not a whole lot there. The Michigan interior defensive line has been basically impenetrable here today thus far. But again, if you take a look at last week, 16 pass plays, 61 rushing plays in that win over Houston for the Rice Owls.
And you talk to their people, and they tell you, wow, we had 5 completions for 85 yards. That was one of the better passing days we've had in a long time.
Well, I thought the interesting stat from last week was the tight end caught a pass.
For the first time since 1997.
In the span of 23 games. Here comes Evans again. Oh, a real late pitch that time. Penalty marker is down in the middle of the field. Adrian Sadler got the pitch. Evans waited as long as he could. Again, a penalty marker down to the middle of the field.
Sometimes when you string the option out, as long as Michigan did at that point, you can come off of your blocks. If you take a look at number 2, Anthony Griffin here, he's going to bring his guy down. He blocks him, but since the play's taken so long, it gives the back a chance to come off of that block and get over and make the tackle, and that can induce a holding, which is what we saw right there.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
So sometimes, Wayne, you can run the option too quickly and you can run it and drag it out for too long. It's all timing, and everything has to work together.
Just about equal on the ground. The passing yards are a huge difference in this game. If we were to show you that, it's ugly.
I don't think whoever's keeping the stats for Rice in the air is going to have a slow day today. They're not going to have a lot to do. Most teams, Michigan, they'll change up, run, and pass. What Rice uses as a change up is inside run, outside run.
Marking this one off from the spot of the infraction. Rice has about 12 yards to go for the first down. Ken Hatfield and company, and Corey Evans, his quarterback. This is their deepest penetration of the afternoon.
And they're executing their offense. They're running the inside give well and the pitch well, and that's what they need. It's something they can have some confidence in and build on.
Offsides against Michigan. Grant Bowman jumped into the neutral zone and could not get back before the snap was made.
This will give Rice second down again, and 5 more yards makes it much more manageable.
Defense, 5 yards, previous spot. Repeat, second down.
Now, 2nd and 7 instead of 2nd and 12. What that will allow you to do is it brings that inside run back into the play, because if they don't pick up but 2 or 3 on the inside run, now you've got 3rd and 4, which is where you like the outside run. So that's it. Although it's just a 5-yard penalty, big difference in how you call plays for Rice.
2 wide receivers at the bottom of your screen. Okaronko and Booth. Evans in traffic. Able to get out of it for a moment. But when, again, you have bumping going on early in the play, it throws off the timing as well. David Lee trying to figure out this Michigan defense. Grant Bowman, Dwayne Patman. Was this just an example of Michigan getting such a push up front that it actually blew up the play by forcing the fullback back into the corner?
Combination of things. The fake wasn't as good because the timing wasn't as good. Now when you're on the outside and you're not faked with what goes on the inside, you can free your people to the outside so everybody stays in their assignment. And that's what Jim Herman wants this game. Assignment football, stay with who we tell you to cover.
Evans to the air. Good throw. And he's got a first down to Travis Thompson, a tight end. James Whitley made the stop, and boy, there's news from Rice. They've hit a tight end for the 2nd week in a row.
That's big news. Nice protection. Throws a bullet right to Thompson, who had the first down yardage. Nice play. Sometimes you don't get much of a pass rush when you're not expecting the opposing team to pass it all. That time Evans had plenty of time and picked his man up, picked up a key first down. They can get this ball into the end zone, gives them a little bit to build on, because this has been a nice drive. They need to finish it now.
Uncharted territory for Rice at Michigan Stadium. They did not get inside the 15 last year. Corey Evans down to the 5-yard line. Charles Drake, an undercut move on the stop. I'll tell you what, Randy, it sometimes is hard to follow where this quarterback is going with the handoff from up here. And we've got a pretty clear view of it. Well, if you're down in the defense and you're wondering where he's going with this thing, it's probably hard to see it.
Exactly. Take a look at the linebackers. They come inside to shut off the handoff, but yet that leaves no linebackers outside on the quarterback. And the speed of the game, as your point, Wayne, is much faster down on the field than it is up here. You get a sense for what Michigan is having to defense.
10th play of the Rice drive. Evans still has it. And Rumashek has Corey Evans. Rumashek, the sophomore out of Addison, Illinois, played rush linebacker last year. They moved him up to the defensive line and placed the injured Jake Freisinger.
Well, the most important thing when you're running the option closer to the goal line is you've got to get penetration defensively to stop it. When you can get your linemen in the backfield, that's going to disrupt the timing, and it's magnified because you've only got 4 or 5 yards to go, so everybody is brought in a little bit more. That time, Rumashek with the penetration totally shut down the play.
At least Rice has, as I mentioned earlier, possessed the football on this drive. They stand to get some points. Unless they turn it over here, you would figure, but they're at least starting to hold on to the football, and that should help their defense, which has been beleaguered to say the least here today. 7.5 to go. First half at Michigan Stadium. It's been all Wolverines to this point. Third down for Rice inside the Michigan 10-yard line. Penalty markers all over this one.
Prior to snap, false start. Offense, 5 yards. The down remains third.
Costly penalty for the Owls.
Well, especially right after a timeout. You have a chance to gather your thoughts. You, as a quarterback, Corey Evans should be telling his team what they're going to do. It looked like they wanted to come up and go on a quick snap before maybe the defense could recognize what was going on. It didn't work for him.
I think he needs another timeout.
Here you take a look at the number of plays on this graphic. They've run 12 plays inside, but only 22 yards. But yet that has set up some of the success they've had to the outside.
Good
so
point.
once again, fewer numbers of plays, but a lot more success.
And you've got to at least ask the defense to honor the inside handoff, right, to make the other stuff go?
Absolutely. If not, then you're just going to see them, the linebackers and the defensive backs, flying to the outside, and they're going to outnumber you, and they're going to be able to make those tackles.
Let's take a look at what's on tap. Brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light, frost brewed to capture a cold, refreshing taste. Tap the Rockies.
Take a look at Michigan's next 5 games. Gets a lot easier for them, doesn't it?
Oh, my.
At UCLA, at Illinois.
That's going to be very interesting at UCLA in that Michigan's defense. Will they be ready for the high-flying Bruins? And then a night game at Illinois. And then the game a lot of people in these parts are pointing toward, and that's the Wisconsin game, followed by Purdue and Indiana. www.big10.org for all the latest information on the Big Ten Conference.
Well, we talked about Michigan traditionally playing a tough non-conference schedule. This year, UCLA, the big name, and UCLA surprising some people, at least me, with their win over Alabama last week. And you bring up a good point, Wayne. The only question mark that Michigan had this year was their defense. How long would it take till they got up to the level? They're young, very fast. They're going to get tested over the next 4 weeks.
Third down and 11 from the Michigan 13 for Rice. Evans over the middle. Got his man on the slant, Okoronkwo. And he is short of the first down at the 3-yard line of Michigan. James Whitley was there.
Nice play by Evans to throw the ball low over the middle. You don't want to throw it high and expose your receiver. The negative, when you throw it low, this is a little bit too low. You make your receiver go down. You don't hit him in stride. Possibly Okoronkwo could have run into the end zone, but at least it's complete. Now Rice feeling they're down 28-0. Got to get this ball into the end zone. We'll go for it here on 4th down.
Ken Hatfield does not want any moral victories with a field goal here. He wants to score on this drive. A touchdown. Evans denied by Dwayne Patman. Michigan takes over.
The best way to stop the option is you just have to outnumber the opposing team. Take a look at all the blue jerseys that are going to be to the outside. You got one quarterback, one pitchback, but look at all those blue jerseys out there. Patman makes the hit, makes the stop. No place for Evans to go. Take a look here again. Look at all the blue jerseys and how few white jerseys there are. Everybody's covered. And as we said in our open, you can't miss tackles. And that time, Patman didn't.
I'll tell you, young man feels good about that hit. And well, he should. First down for the Wolverines inside their 5. Back to Studio 66, Mike Gleason for NC State, Indiana.
That's right, Wayne. This one billed Antoine Randall L. against Phillip Rivers, the freshman out of NC State. But Randall L. is on fire today. 37 yards rushing, 156 passing. This one covers 70 yards to Versi Gaddis. The second scoring strike from Randall L. on the afternoon. It's 21-3 Hoosiers all over the Wolfpack from Bloomington. Let's go back to Ann Arbor with Wayne.
I wonder if all those live eyes moved from the basketball arena to the football stadium today. A little controversy going on down there in Bloomington.
That's something different.
This is the freshman Chris Perry, who had such an outstanding performance a week ago. 10 carries, 103 yards, and a 42-yard run. Last week's ball game against Bowling Green. Ortega, Gatlin bring him down, gained him 10 to the 20-yard line.
Lloyd Carr told us yesterday that they think this guy can be something really special. He's got good size, 6'1", almost 230 pounds, but great speed. Last week, 103 yards, the first true freshman to do so in an opener, playing early as a true freshman. They think a lot of him.
Perry hit in the hole by Ortega. Gain of a couple of yards. Think about Chris Perry. He brings the full package, Randy. Size and speed. And Lloyd Carr was saying he's got a great pair of hands, although he dropped a pass last week.
Well, the fact that he can develop and mature and play with the presence as a true freshman in this stadium with this offense, with a lot of the backs that have come in, speaks a lot about his personality and his character, and his ability certainly matches that.
2nd and 7, Walter Cross. Good undercut move made. Jackson in the defensive end. Gatlin, the cornerback, came up to support as well.
What you've seen here, though, Wayne, with this Rice Owl team is they haven't given up. They started and totally laid an egg with some of their mistakes early. They got behind 28-0, but offensively, they got into a little bit of rhythm, didn't get the ball into the end zone, and defensively, though, they haven't given up either. They've held Michigan a couple of plays, and they're fighting hard and playing hard. I think you'll see that. You continue to see that.
Walter Cross gets enough for the first down, gain of a couple. Michigan over 100 yards rushing. Joe Bob Thompson made the stop on that play. And that's noteworthy because last year Michigan, Randy, only averaged 121.8 yards rushing per game. 10th in the Big Ten and the worst Michigan average since 1962.
They want to be able to run the football this year. A very experienced offensive line. They're very deep in the running back position, so they have great receivers. They're going to throw it, but they feel they can win the championship, the national championship, running the ball.
Blindsided from behind. John Navarre hit hard on the play. Jarrett Irvin, the defensive end, got over to make the stop.
You don't blame that sack on the offensive line. Sometimes when you bring more oncoming rushers than you have people to block, you've got to be able to pick it up as a quarterback. Navarre never looking to his left. There's the blitz coming in, and he should just get rid of that ball.
Randy, that's a situation where he's not going to see who's coming after him. He's going to have to feel it, right?
Well, you have to see it pre-snap so that you blow off the play action fake and you keep your head looking that way.
Loss of 7, 2nd down Michigan. Justin Fargus upended in the middle of the defense to make the stop. Jonathan Chisholm.
Go back to that play before, Wayne, when you said you don't really see it, you have to feel it. You're going to feel it one way or another.
Yeah, sooner or later you're going to feel it.
He felt it at the end result. If you kind of keep your head up and you see things, and that's going to come with experience. Keep in mind, this kid's only played 5.5 quarters of college football. He's done a tremendous job. Some things you just have to learn on the run.
I was talking about feel before the hit. 3rd down and long. Navarre. Terrell. First down at the 43-yard line. They've been slipping and sliding a little bit out there, and it looked like Kenny Smith slipped as he tried to cover the cutback move of David Terrell, who makes the catch underneath the coverage for 18 yards.
One of the hardest passes to throw in football. The quick post, you have to throw it with the receivers back towards you, and you have to throw the thing on a line, and Navarre's got the arm strength. It's a timing pattern that you usually don't see with young quarterbacks. 7 for 8, almost the same as he was last week. 15 for 19, even a little better today.
You said it yesterday. The thing that's impressive about this youngster, isn't his arm strength, isn't his stature, or even his poise. His accuracy is what's amazing.
And you don't see that a lot with young quarterbacks. It takes them a while because the speed of the game from high school to college is so much different, just like it is from college to the pros. But it hasn't phased this guy, and he is just continuing to improve and impress.
For those of you who aren't up on John Navarre, he originally committed to Northwestern but bolted when Coach Gary Barnett left the Wildcats for Colorado. He would have started as a true freshman last year for Randy Walker down at Northwestern. Navarre, Marquise Walker, pirouette move at the 50, and he's about 2 yards short of the first down at the Rice 49. Justin Engler made the stop. Now, to further the story on Navarre, Randy, he was out there for a little brief period of time without a school. He kind of checked into Wisconsin a little bit. Barry Alvarez said, well, we've committed to a couple of guys at quarterback. So they didn't really have room or felt they could bring him in there. Meanwhile, Michigan got on the horn in a hurry and said, whoa, wait a minute. They called Cudahy, Wisconsin, and said, we'll take you right now.
Well, if you look at this kid, he fits this offense much more than Wisconsin. He's not going to run the option, but he's going to come here and throw the ball. And you find room for a quarterback like that.
Chris Perry down the sidelines. True freshman at Benson, North Carolina, out of Fort Union Military Academy in Virginia. John White steered him out.
Well, we've seen Chris Perry run to the inside. Now you see him run to the outside. Makes a nice cut and then just turns it into big yardage.
Minute 20 to go. First half at Michigan Stadium. Wolverines up by 4 touchdowns.
Your future proud of.
That young lady just made a quick call home. Send money. I'll pick it up in the will call window. 12th play of this Michigan drive. First down. At the Rice 40-yard line. That's Terrell at the top of your screen. Bellamy to the bottom. Navarre. Waited for Terrell. Pretty good coverage down the left sidelines. Kenny Smith on the stop, on the coverage.
Nice coverage by Kenny Smith. Little play action fake right here, trying to get him to bite on the quick post. Terrell goes by him, but there's plenty of coverage given by Smith, who does a nice job of kind of pushing Terrell towards the sideline. Use that sideline as another defender. Nice coverage there.
So Terrell heads to the bench for a break. Michigan 2nd and 10. Walker and Bellamy at the top. Quick count. Perry hit in the backfield, nearly fumbled. Boy, I tell you what, you talk about making something out of nothing, and that freshman did it right there. A gain of about 10 yards, first down.
Well, you got to make plays happen defensively. Rice had the right defense called. They had Smith in the backfield right there, who tried to break up the right. Excuse me, it was Ortega, number 3, who was in the right spot, just couldn't finish the play.
Third down. This is a first down. Chris Perry running with authority down to the 20-yard line. Gain of another 10 yards. Gatlin and White on the stop. Timeout on the field. 41 seconds left to go. First half at Michigan.
Back at Michigan Stadium, so far a luxury for the Wolverines not having to use Anthony Thomas here in the second quarter. After scoring 4 touchdowns in the first quarter, he's okay, and perhaps we'll see him before the game is over. Maybe not. They may not need him as the way things have been going so far, guys.
Well, they've got plenty to fill in, Jim, if he doesn't want to come back. BJ Askew, short yardage if any there. National Car Rental halftime report is coming up. We'll have up-to-date on Marshall, Michigan State, La Tech, and Penn State doing battle. Highlights and stats all just ahead with Mike Gleason. National Car Rental halftime report. Walker behind him, nearly intercepted by Ortega.
Would have been an outstanding catch as Walker was open, and again Navarre throwing the ball a little bit too high, but we've seen both Walker and Terrell make those catches time after time today. That one would have been a little tougher.
Yeah, that was a tough catch. When you're throwing a rope behind you like that, trying to reach back for it.
Had he been able to hit Walker in stride, that could have gone into the end zone. Man-to-man coverage. Walker had his guy beat. Nobody in front of him.
Final half minute, first half. Michigan hasn't scored in this quarter. Navarre. They've scored now. Terrell. Navarre paid a price, but he's got his third touchdown pass of the afternoon.
Well, he paid the price, as you said. He stood in the pocket, man-to-man coverage, stared down the blitz, and had a wide-open Terrell. He knew it was going to come open, and he stood in there and threw a strike. Now, look at the cushion Terrell gives Navarre to work with. You don't even see the defender in the picture right there. Plenty of room. The ball doesn't have to be quite as accurate when you've got that much room for error.
Epstein's point after is good. Michigan has put better than 30 points on the board in a half for the first time since 1998. Back in November of '98 at Hawaii, when they scored 35 points in the first half, they've matched that with 35 here in this half.
Take a look again, a pattern that every team has. They've got the inside receiver running what's called a post corner man-to-man coverage. That's where you go. Nice job by Navarre reading the coverage correctly and throwing a strike.
Scoring drive, 96 yards, took almost 6.5 minutes.
Well, set up by that defensive goal line stand when they stopped Rice on a 4th down back on their own 4-yard line and took over and took a little bit away from what Rice was starting to build on.
About 7 first downs on that drive.
Good mixture of passing and running. You put a drive together like that, 17 plays this early in the season, that just really can help your offense get into a rhythm, because you don't usually see offensive football that sharp early in the year.
Epstein booting once again. Most of his kicks are unreturnable.
He's hitting that driver, like you said.
I mean that in a positive sense.
He's hitting a Tiger Woods kind of driver.
Yeah, he sure is. This one will be returned, and he got good leverage into it. Sean White. Wow. Julius Curry, a strong safety, literally blew that up.
Boy, you aren't kidding. You don't see starters playing on special teams as much. Watch Curry go right through the blocker, right through the ball carrier. Just takes them both out. Wow.
He took out Leroy Bradley and the return man on that one. Sean White. 11 seconds to go in what for Rice has been a disaster of a first half, especially the opening 5 minutes of the first quarter.
And that set the tempo for the whole first half.
Inside handoff to Beck, and Robbie Beck for short yardage. He's a freshman, redshirt out of Atlanta. Well, an impressive start for the Michigan Wolverines. They capitalized on every opportunity, and they lead big at halftime, 35-0 over the Rice Owls. Most impressive performance by quarterback John Navarre. Anthony Thomas, pair of touchdown runs. David Terrell, a couple of touchdown catches. Michigan out in front comfortably early in this ball game.
And Michigan has done what they've wanted to do. They've been able to build with Navarre and been able to work on the running game. Both very positive.
Mike Gleason in the National Car Rental halftime report is coming up in just a few moments. Again, the halftime score, Michigan 35, Rice nothing.
Today's Big Ten football game is brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil, for protection beyond 3,000 miles. Leave your stress behind and take the time to get away. Polaris, the way out. And by National Car Rental. What are you waiting for? Let's go.
On that first quarter, Jim, I want to tell you, that was something else. They cashed in on every opportunity in that first quarter.
I don't know if Lloyd Carter is really expecting them to improve as much as he is just to maintain. That would be an improvement to be able to maintain for 60 minutes.
Plus, he's going to get an opportunity to get some young people, a lot of experience you would expect in the second half.
And that'll make it hard for them to improve on what they did in the first half.
Brandon Skeen with the kickoff. Walter Cross from the 2. Steered to the sidelines of the near side at about the 25-yard line. Brendan Boyd helped to force him out of the near side. Let's take a look at the halftime leaders.
Evans there with 11 rushes for only 17 yards. They've been able to take the ball out of his hands and eliminate a lot of his success. Take a look at Navarre, 121 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half alone.
Michigan scored on all but one possession. 5 out of 6, and they didn't just score field goals, they scored touchdowns. Anthony Thomas had a big first quarter. Able to cool his jets a little bit in the second quarter. Picks up a yard here as he takes it wide. Joe Bob Thompson out of Dangerfield, Texas. If you're from Texas, you've got to have somebody on your team named Joe Bob.
You got to have, and that's the only one that stands out right now. There are probably more than just that.
They've got a BJ. They've got a Jarrett. Those are good Texas names. Second down. Thomas cutting it back. Why, he runs with such great power, Randy, at the end of his runs. He finishes strong, even when he's been hit. Dawson and Pittman on the stop for Rice.
Wayne, right there you can see why Anthony Thomas is the complete back. You talked about his power at the end of the run. Watch the vision early in the run. Play designed to go to the left. He sees the hole open up to the right. A huge hole. Keeps his head up with that vision, sees it, and then he uses that power to finish the drive.
Opening drive, second half. Thomas again. Picked the hole off left guard that time. Hutchison and Backus are over there on the left side of that offensive line. First down for the Michigan Wolverines. Kenny Smith, the cornerback, in support from the secondary on the stop.
You talked about Backus and Hutchinson on the left side of the line. I get a feeling in watching these backs that Michigan will interchange freely. There's not a lot of hesitancy when they start the play. They know that hole is going to be there, and they're hitting it full speed. That's why they get through it so quickly.
Fargas is in for Thomas, and Fargas gets the call around the end. Justin Fargas cut off by Josh McMillan, who did a good job of forcing that play back toward the middle of the field. It is a gain nonetheless of about 7 yards.
Justin Fargas is a back that needs to be careful. He doesn't get caught up in the numbers game here at Michigan. He came in a couple of years ago, the most highly recruited player in a long time to come to Michigan. A lot of expectations. Had the injury last year, missed all of last year with a broken leg, and now has got to get back into that rhythm. A smaller back, very, very fast.
He was third on the team in rushing a couple of seasons ago. This time hit in the backfield initially and then stormed down to the play. Joe Bob Thompson knifed in. We talked to the coaches last night. Roger Hinshaw, the defensive coordinator, he mentioned that number 43, Joe Bob Thompson, is probably playing the best of his linebackers right now.
Said he's one of the most experienced. He's a junior. He's just got a sense of making plays. He's got football smarts. He plays under control, but yet aggressively. So he's not out of control and doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but he can still play aggressively.
Michigan forced into a third down call, but they have been very good in these situations. Play action. Navarre got Walker for a first down. Smith makes the tackle to the midfield marker. The Wolverines move the chains once again on a gain of about 8 yards.
Nice job by Navarre, standing in the pocket, knowing he's going to get hit. This is the poise that we've talked about with this young freshman that stands in there. This is the third or fourth time he's delivered a nice ball, knowing he's going to get hit. It hadn't shook him up at all, and he delivers a nice ball to Walker, who can pick up the first down. Good play.
Rashard Pittman with the hit on the quarterback. First down for Michigan. The A-train tripped up in the middle of the line. Jonathan Chisholm makes the stop in the heart of the defense of the Rice Owls. It's an overcast, hazy day here in Michigan. We're at Michigan Stadium, third-ranked Wolverines against the Rice Owls out of the Western Athletic Conference. Wayne Larrivee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber. Great to have you with us this afternoon, wherever you're looking in around the country. This young man hails from Cudahy, Wisconsin. John Navarre, number 16. Second down. Anthony Thomas pulling his way. Close to 100 yards on the afternoon. Gain of about 7 on that play. Justin Engler made the stop.
Wayne, I'm sure the question is going to come up, if it hasn't already, with the success that John Navarre is having at quarterback and the offense moving as well as they have. When Drew Henson is healthy enough to step in there, what do you think about some kind of quarterback situation? And obviously Henson was having a wonderful camp and was expected to step up, but I'm sure that's a thought that's going through his mind right now. Is it's a tough schedule the next 4 or 5 games. When is he going to come back, and is the job going to be his when he does?
3rd and short. Thomas. Look out. Inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Anthony Thomas. 32 yards. Kenny Smith somehow able to force him out.
Well, he's got such quick feet. He sees the hole, breaks to the outside in a hurry, and he just runs right through those arm tackles. If there's any weakness that Anthony Thomas may have, I think it's in that breakaway pure speed, that he doesn't just pull away from defensive backs.
But he runs so hard. He finishes so powerfully. He catches the ball well, and he is a devastating blocker, especially in pass protection. And that's got to say something about this young man. He may not have 4.23 speed, but he's got the rest of it.
And he adds so much more to it, like you said, in the passing game. He's a great pass blocker from the halfback position, an excellent lead blocker when he's not carrying the ball, and he's got good hands in the passing game.
Jason Hebert gingerly making his way off the field, a junior out of Spring, Texas. We spoke of him. Had a career best 19 tackles at Michigan a year ago. First team all WAC safety. Boy, if he can't come back, that'll be a big loss for this defense. 1st and goal, Michigan. Thomas nowhere to go that time. Larry Brown in the middle of the defense, a junior out of Dallas. The tackles are both 6'2", 6'3", and they go about 290 pounds. Brown on one side and B.J. Ferguson on the other side give the Rice Owls some size in an otherwise undersized defensive front.
And not only are they the biggest players, they're the best players of that defensive front. Big guys, they've got some experience, and Michigan hasn't had the kind of success running right at those 2 players that they have when they've run off tackle and outside.
Walker in motion. Navarre overshot Askew, incomplete. Askew, who had a big 58-yard reception a week ago. Been somewhat quiet here today.
One of the few passes that Navarre has not connected on, and sometimes when you're throwing to a fullback who hasn't been in the passing game into the rhythm like the wide receivers and tight ends have been, you get a little miscommunication. I think Navarre thought Askew was going to continue on his route. Askew kind of pulled up and slowed down.
Pretty good numbers, to say the least. 12th play of this particular Michigan drive. 3rd down. Vargas. While the defense flowed to the football very well there, he may have lost a yard on the play. Justin Engler, Josh McMillan around the football. So Hayden Epstein is called on for a field goal try.
Boy, this team just keeps throwing these backs after you. You'd hate to have to face Justin Vargas as the 4th best back playing against this team.
27-yard field goal attempt. He needs just 3 points to reach the 50-point plateau in his career at Michigan. And he's got him on that kick. 9:29 to go, 3rd quarter. 3rd-ranked Michigan, most impressive here today.
Time now for Do You Know Me? Brought to you by Citgo. You know a neighbor when you see one. At only 5'9", 176 pounds, he became the first receiver in Big Ten history to lead the conference in scoring. Do you know me? And now the answer to today's Citgo Do You Know Me? In 1991, while playing for the Michigan Wolverines, I won the Heisman by the 2nd largest margin in the trophy's history. I later won the Super Bowl MVP while playing for the Packers. I am Desmond Howard.
Michigan Wolverines, led by their senior running back, Anthony Thomas, have crushed Rice to this point. Boy, he brings it all, Randy.
He does. He's got that maturity to know when you need to use what. The inside game, the outside game, the stiff arm. Turns the ball over very, very little. Sure-handed ball carrier and a lot of strength for somebody that's got his quickness.
Epstein getting set to kick it away. Sean White back deep. Nice move. Out across the 25, Sean White. Meanwhile, as we talk, Thomas moving up the charts, career 100-yard rushing days.
He's tied there for fourth and got 5 to go to tie Tyrone Wheatley. And Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator for the Wolverines, is going to be mighty disappointed if Thomas doesn't break Wheatley's record, because he needs that running game going all year.
First down for the Rice Owls. Football just short of their 27. Evans faked the handoff inside and then ran into Eric Wilson as he tried to take it to the outside. Loss of about 3. Meanwhile, we showed you the Michigan possessions in the first half. Rice, boy, that fumble was on the first play from scrimmage, as you could see, and that really set the tone. And the Owls were unable to move the football very well, except for that one drive where they went 56 yards and then lost it on downs deep in Michigan territory.
You look at the number of plays per drive they ran, didn't give their defense much of a rest at all, other than that one drive they went 12 plays.
Second down. They break the bone. Evans looking to throw, pulls it back down. Evan Coleman nabs him from behind. Coleman's got pretty good speed. He was a running back here in this program last year. Another loss of a yard or 2.
Jim Herman will tell you when he's talking about Evan Coleman that he just is a guy that moved over, played fullback last year, moved over, has got great leverage, good size. He makes a bunch of plays, but he doesn't know if he knows what he's doing. And he's hesitant. How do you want to teach him? Because I don't want to take away his ability to make the plays, but I want to make sure that he knows what he is doing.
Take a look at the inside the tackle play card, and to the left side. They've gone there more often than not.
But you know, Wayne, they really haven't had a lot of success anywhere.
No. Straight wishbone. Evans comes up throwing. Got a man out there. Okoronkwo makes the catch just short of the first down. Jim Barber had an opportunity to talk with Coach Hatfield. Here's what he had to say.
And Wayne, in the first half, he was very disgusted with the fact that Rice turned the ball over so quickly in the first quarter. He really expected his football team to be much more competitive. And when Rice was going for it on 4th down in the second quarter, he also said in so many words, that was a no-brainer because we needed to get a touchdown to show some confidence against the number 3 team in the country. As for Jason Hebert on the defense of the Owls, he has a pulled groin. He will not return.
Big loss, Jimmy. He's one of their best in the middle of that defense. 4th down. The Owls going for it. Or are they? And they've got it. First down. Out across the 40-yard line. For a minute there, I thought he was just going to take a penalty, trying to draw the defense off sides. Jamie Tyler picks up the first down. Williams and Curry on the stop.
And Wayne, I think that's what the Michigan defense thought. Sometimes, nice call. You get up there, you hold at the line of scrimmage, you make the defense think that all you're going to do is draw them off sides. They relax a little bit, and then you snap the ball, especially on a simple little dive. That time, Jamie Tyler pays the price, but picks up the first down.
What if they don't relax? Do you snap it anyway?
Then you call timeout.
Or take a penalty. Inside handoff. Gain of about 4 yards out to the 45-yard line. Brackens makes the stop on the play as they go to Jamie Tyler. So we mentioned the junior from Austin, Texas, did not play last week due to a hamstring injury. Coming into this year, it gained 952 yards in 2 seasons at Rice.
Last week, Robbie Beck stepped up for him, did a nice job, had 15 rushes, but this week with Jamie Tyler back, he's a much more experienced and a better blocker. You've got to have a fullback that's a threat if you're going to run the wishbone.
Vincent Hawkins able to get by one man, Coleman, but then stood up and driven back Victor Hobson. The outside linebacker met him on the flank.
You don't hear, at least we haven't today, the outside linebackers making a lot of tackles for Michigan. And when you're facing this option, you usually don't see them make the tackles. They're the ones either forcing the pitch or they're taking the dive back. So they're causing the play, but they're not finishing the play, but they're still doing their job.
They're playing an important role.
Absolutely.
They're taking up a blocker in one form or another.
And the quarterback is usually reading him, and if you come to me, I'm pitching the ball. If you don't come to me, I'm keeping it. So their statistics won't look like they've had a great game when the game plan should show that they did.
Third down. Hawkins in motion. They went to Jamie Tyler, and there is nothing there. More often than not, there has been nothing on the inside handoff. Larry Foote helped to plug that hole along with Grant Bowman on the Michigan defensive line.
Boy, you're right. There's nothing there but blue jerseys. And there, when you're trying to make a read, who do you go to? There are too many people to read, and nothing you do is going to work. Take a look at the penetration. 17 right there, Larry Foote fires through there, breaks through the block, disrupts the rhythm, and now you can see why the play got blown up like it did.
Travis Hale, another busy day for him. Bellamy in single safety for Michigan. Pretty good leverage into this kick. Bellamy the fair catch signal, and he makes the catch just across the 20-yard line. Third quarter, 4:20 to go in the third. Michigan by plenty. Welcome back to Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. Wayne Larrivee along with Randy Wright. Jim Barber's on the sidelines for us. Michigan rolling as expected. Third-ranked team in the nation. They take over offensively. 1st and 10 near their 23. Walter Cross got into the crossfire that time of Rashard Pittman. The strong inside linebacker, or stud linebacker, as Roger Hinshaw, the defensive coordinator Rice likes to call him, made the play.
Now you look at Rashard Pittman, and his statistics say he's 5'11", 225 pounds. And you take a look at him on the field, and he's either a lot shorter than 5'11" or a lot more than 225 pounds.
I'd go for a lot more than 225 pounds.
He looks a lot heavier than that. Solid heavy, but heavier.
Second down for Michigan. No gain on that play. I know you think I've dropped the Drew Henson discussion, but I'm going to follow that up at some point here.
You're just making your mind up.
I'm just waiting for a lull in the action. Here comes Cross, and he slips and falls. Jim Barber, how about some of those Michigan quarterbacks that have gone from this predominantly run university over the years to the pros?
That's a good point. I know Randy appreciates that, being a former quarterback at Wisconsin. It's a star-studded group that's in the National Football League, most of them in the AFC West, and Mr. Brady is the one that joined him most recently, the New England Patriots from the AFC East. Point made by Lloyd Carr to people coming here to play football at the quarterback spot for Michigan. Be patient. You don't have to start your freshman year or your sophomore year. In the case of Brady, he waited a while until his junior season. And in the case of Brian Griese, 5th game of his senior season. All he got was a national championship, guys.
Drew Henson stands to be the next guy to join that group in the NFL, perhaps. David Terrell absorbed quite a hit from Travis Ortega. Could not hang on to that one. You know, the other fact, you think about Michigan, you think about Bo Schembechler, 3 yards at a cloud of dust type offense that they ran here for so long. But really, it started with Jim Harbaugh in the mid to late 80s. He was the first quarterback who made it in the pros from Michigan that really started to do something.
And you got to give them credit because they changed with the times. They saw what was happening, and they went ahead and made a change. Jim, I got a question for you. I think that one of the most impressive quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion, is Scott Dreisbach, a guy that really didn't even start here that's in the pros.
Without a doubt, and I think he's going to see some prominent time in the National Football League before things are taken care of. Wolverines on top of Rice, 38-0. 2 minutes and 36 seconds left in the third quarter. How much longer for John Navarre? We'll find out.
Yeah.
Andy Mittery, who saw some brief action last week warming up on the sidelines with another quarterback, Jermaine Gonzalez, who is a true freshman. And a quarterback that I'm sure they would like to, if they can, redshirt him.
He may be the most athletic of the young ones. Hard to be a better thrower than what John Navarre has shown. But Gonzalez, as you said, they would really like to redshirt him this year.
Evans on the inside handoff. And not a whole lot there for Beck. Now, we talked about the Michigan quarterback situation and what happens when Drew Henson's ready to come back.
No,
well,
I talked about it. You didn't say much at all about it.
I can assure you of this, that when Drew Henson is healthy to play, Lloyd Carr will make him the starting quarterback, and he would have to lose the job based on on performance. That's what I would interpret from the way Lloyd Carr over the years has handled his quarterback situations. And that goes back to Dreisbach and Greasy and Brady and Henson the last couple of years.
And I agree with that 100%. I think that's the way that it should be.
Eric Brackens almost had an interception. Couldn't quite hang on. And then one of his teammates almost picked it off. Todd Howard.
Boy, got his head around just in time to see the ball come in there. It would have been a nice catch as he's going down. But then you see Howard come here and just picks the ball up right off the ground right there. Take a look. Brackens had one, and he won't find many more difficult than that, but that's a catchable ball. Of course, when you're a quarterback, they're all catchable balls.
Yes. Third down. Been a long day on third down for Rice. Sadler runs out of real estate far short of the first down. Patman over to make the play. Boy, he's played well here today, Dwayne Patman. Michigan defense flowing very well to the ball. Part of the quickness package we talked about earlier for Michigan.
And they don't have those big name players, but a lot of speed. Look at all the blue jerseys over there. See 3 of them right there, taking him out of bounds. And Wayne, back to what we were talking about with the quarterback, I think that's the right move. You play Henson, you reward your experienced players, your upperclassmen. He is the guy that brings the complete package with his feet and his arm. But I think the experience that Navarre is gaining right now is just invaluable and will help him not only the rest of this year, but throughout his career, too.
He has been most impressive. High kick authored by Hale. Boy, I tell you, not much running room that time for James Whitley. 48-yard punt, 4-yard return, and Michigan will start short of its 10-yard line. Let's take a moment to thank our Big Ten corporate partners, Value City and Kemper Funds, long-term investing in a short-term world.
I think we need to be fair and do justice to Drew Henson too. What we've seen John Navarre do has been against 2 of the weaker teams that Michigan will play all year. It's kind of like the NFL preseason. You can be an all-pro in preseason. It's a totally different game when the regular season starts. And for Drew Henson, he's faced the real bullets before. John Navarre hasn't.
The freshman Chris Perry spinning his way out across the 15-yard line where McMillan and Dawson bring him to the turf. As you mentioned, Michigan goes into a stretch of at UCLA, at Illinois, followed by Wisconsin and at Purdue. So it is going to be interesting to see how this whole thing evolves. But the toughest part of the stretch of schedule, and depending on how Henson heals, Randy, he may not see any of those opponents I just mentioned.
It's a week to week, and it could be a couple more weeks. It could be into October. It's too hard to say at this point.
Second down, a little bit less than 2, and this is a first down by Chris Perry once again. Perry ran the 40 in 4.4. One time had him at 4.27, so he's got some speed. Scored 71 touchdowns, rushed for 4,678 yards in his high school career.
No wonder he's playing as a true freshman.
Yes. You bring in those kinds of credentials
and that kind of ability, and you're going to find a place for a guy like that. And Lloyd Carr has. He's found a place to fit him into this offense and getting him some valuable playing time early in this season.
Michigan over 200 yards rushing, and Perry again trying to read it this time. Nowhere to go as Jarrett Irwin makes the stop on the play. Now, we talked to Ken Hatfield, the head coach at Rice, last night. He was mentioning how the fact is in his 7th season now they've got a redshirt program at Rice, which is going to help their program immensely, especially with line play, big linemen, growing them bigger and stronger. Now, it's a little bit different. At Michigan, you'll find they'll redshirt the linemen quite a bit, but you've got a situation where with skilled people, Michigan can afford to play true freshmen because they're going to get more skilled people in as they go along.
And a lot of those skilled players, you don't know that they're going to be here 5 years anyway. They're going to leave maybe after their junior year or after their 4th year. So you lose that 5th year either way.
Whereas at Rice, the caliber of people they get, they can grow them a little bit longer perhaps. Third quarter comes to a close. So John Navarre heads to the sidelines for a moment. The two teams change ends. And we are heading to the 4th quarter. Big day for Anthony Thomas. The A train rolling. Tough day for Ken Hatfield. Marquise Walker with a pair of scores. I'm not sure you'd want to run into the likes of those in an alley after hours. Welcome back to Michigan Stadium. ESPN Plus coverage. Our game of the week. Michigan leading Rice 38-0. Wayne Larrabee along with Randy Wright and Jim Barber. First down for the Michigan Wolverines. And the call goes to Justin Fargas. Penalty marker is down to the play.
Hand off to Justin Fargas.
Joe Bob Thompson on the tackle for the Rice Owls. Fargas a little shaken up.
Joe Bob Thompson.
First penalty of the second half about to be assessed against Michigan.
See, Michigan has their backup offensive line, at least a lot of them in the game, giving them a chance to play. One of them committed a little mistake there.
Holding against the Wolverines. So there's a look at John Navarre. Now, we talked about how he did look into going to Wisconsin, a team that he very well may be leading this Michigan club against in a few weeks. Barry Alvarez said he would have signed Navarre to play defense. Navarre certainly has size.
I don't think he wanted any part of that.
He didn't.
Made the right choice, judging by his first two games.
Walter Cross bouncing to the outside. Penalty marker down once again. Gain of just a couple of yards. Gatlin got over to cut that off. Holding again the call. Let's go back to the studio. Mike Gleason. Mike.
Well, Wayne, over in East Lansing, Michigan, Marshall, Michigan State tied at 10-10 until Jeff Smoker. That's right, Jeff Smoker avoids the rush. Touchdown pass to Sean Foster, 17-10. Why is Smoker playing? Ryan Van Dyke injured his thumb. X-rays were negative. He's going to be okay. But Smoker, the freshman, so much for a redshirt year there, huh, Wayne?
Wow, came out smoking.
Things change in a hurry, don't they?
You knew I would be the low man on the totem pole to use that line.
No.
Take a look at the third down conversions today. Michigan awfully good when you complete, what, 19 of 26 over 2 weeks.
Haven't had a lot of third and longs either. They've been a lot of third and shorts.
Walter Cross got the call on the delay up the middle. Antoine Shell, the strong safety on the stop, as both teams have most of their backups in right now.
That was one of the few third down and long situations Michigan has been in, choosing to just play it safe and run the ball and see if they can make something happen with Walter Cross.
White back deep to receive. Steen gets pretty good leverage into this kick. White from the 35. Gets by Walter Cross. Taken down near the 46-yard line. Anthony Jordan on the stop. Rice sets up shop offensively just across its 45. We welcome you back to Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan on a warm, sultry afternoon. I'm Wayne Larrabee along with Randy Wright, Jim Barber. Rice goes first and 10. The football out near the Owls' 46-yard line. New quarterback in the lineup for the Owls. Hawthorne gets the call. Vincent Hawthorne for about 4 yards to the midfield marker. Ben Wolf is the new signal caller for the Owls. There's a look at Ben, senior out of Center, Texas. Began his college career at defensive back. Moved to quarterback in '98. Then to running back last year. Matter of fact, last year in this game against Michigan, he made 2 tackles on special teams. He was moved back to quarterback this week with the injury to Jeremy Hurd last week. Wolf faked the handoff on the option, broke one tackle, but couldn't quite get away. Shanti Orr, and they are very high on this young man, made the stop. Jim Herman spoke in glowing terms of this youngster. Shanti Orr suffered a broken hand during 2-a-day workouts, Randy. They taped it up. He was back in practice the next day. They had to go back in and redo the surgery on it, and he still came back a couple of days later, and now he's on the field playing here in this second weekend in September.
You see the huge club that he's got there on his right hand, and he wanted to be back on the field, and he's made every effort to get back out there. And you listen to Jim Herman, his defensive coordinator, he would just talk. He could have gone on for hours about it.
Wolf going to take it himself. He's close to the first down to the Michigan 44-yard line. Spytek on the stop.
You talk about Wolf, who played defensive back, then quarterback, then running back, and back to quarterback now. With this Rice option offense, what you really have is 4 running backs in the backfield. So one just needs to be able to take the snap, maybe be a little quicker with the decision making, but really what they have is 4 guys capable of running the ball.
David Lee in the red shirt, the offensive coordinator. Must be some reason why he's got a bright red shirt on.
Absolutely. You always want the person on the sideline who is signaling in the plays to have some kind of different colored shirt so you can pick them out quickly.
Just under 12 minutes left to go in this one. We step away for a moment from Michigan Rice. Back at Michigan Stadium, fourth quarter. Michigan leading comfortably, and Rice for the first down of the Wolverine 44. Bradley, quick hitter off the left side, inside the Michigan 40-yard line. Well, Jim Barber, most of the 109,000 on hand here today are supporting the Michigan Wolverines, but there are some here for Rice, aren't there?
Yes, indeed. In fact, in back of me, these guys have been shirtless for a long time, and not only did it come from Houston, Texas, but we've got a Texas A&M fan in that group. Now, guys, I would disrobe and go shirtless at this point, but I'm a company man. I keep my blazer, tie, and shirt on at all times.
Well, you know, Jim, I'll tell you something. If you had a little blue paint, you could, you know, paint the blazer on your skin and go blazerless that way, and they'd never know the difference.
You guys have any blue paint up there?
Yeah, we'll get some down there.
Oh, they've got some blue paint. I might be in for some trouble here.
It'd almost be worth going out and getting some blue paint for you.
It sure would. We'll bring some the next time we're here. Third down coming up for Rice. As I mentioned, Ben Wolf in at quarterback for the Owls. There's a Wolverine here in the big house. Third down. Nice catch, couldn't hang on. Gavin Booth got 2 hands on it, couldn't quite hold it. Ben Wolf with the delivery, and it's fourth down for Rice.
Pretty nice throw by Wolf, running out to his left, puts the ball there. Pretty good. Would have been a tough catch, and Booth had it till he came down, but never quite had control of it. Would have given the Owls a first down. Now they'll have to go for it here on fourth.
As we mentioned, it's been a sultry, warm, somewhat humid afternoon here in Ann Arbor, but this is nothing compared to what these kids from Houston, Rice University, are used to. I mean, the heat in Texas has been legendary all summer. We know some of you may be watching down there, and boy, our hearts go out to you. We've barely hit the 90s here in Michigan, states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Back at Michigan, the Wolverines leading big 38-0 over Rice. Fourth down for the Owls. 4th and 3. Pitch is fumbled. Wolverines have it. Norman Bobert comes away with the miscue, and the Wolverines force another turnover.
Pretty nice play by Wolf right there, and pitches the ball just a tad bit behind Griffin, but still a catchable ball. Griffin maybe taking his eyes off of the pitch, looking upfield, never looked it all the way in. See if we can get a better look right here. Just a tad behind Griffin, but on fourth down, you got to make that catch. Don't know if it would have made a difference, though, Wayne. There are a lot of blue jerseys.
No, there were all kinds of blue jerseys in the neighborhood. There's no way they get that first down. This is Ryan Beard, the redshirt freshman out of Houston, Texas. Speaking of Houston, Texas, some fans from down at Houston have gotten a hold of Jim Barber. Jimmy, you all right?
Yeah, I wish Randy hadn't said anything about the blue paint. What do you think, guys? Huh?
I think you're lucky to only have that much blue paint on you.
Ready for battle? I look like a warrior, don't I?
You look like you're getting ready to field a punt.
Some fan over there said, hey, that's an improvement.
Oh, not at all.
No, that was us, Jim.
Oh, okay.
Andy Minery is in at quarterback for Michigan. And again, Ryan Beard gets the call. Last week had a couple of carries for 2 yards against Bowling Green. There is a look at Minery from Hamilton, Ontario. His son, his dad was a high school coach.
Another big kid, 6'3", 234 pounds. Also a freshman, and you got to wonder what's going through his mind, getting a chance to play a little bit in the preseason or in the non-conference, but yet with John Navarre, a redshirt freshman, having that kind of success, I'm sure he's wondering where he's going to fit in.
Minery, little touch pass down the sidelines, overshot Brent Cummings. Beck's game summary to this stage. How about this? Michigan defense been pretty efficient, right? 6 punts and 10 possessions. They're yet to score. Evans, they held him in check. Michigan, meanwhile, explosive here today with 6 plays of 20 yards or more, and Anthony Thomas has showed us the whole package.
Boy, it's been a game from the Michigan perspective on both sides of the ball and special teams. Very successful there.
Down for back in Michigan, Rice returns to the offense. Ben Wolf, the senior out of Center, Texas, at quarterback. The give to Beck, and the big freshman is stopped at his tracks in mid portion of the Michigan defense. We've mentioned how well Michigan has played defensively here today. When you're a school like Michigan, you're facing a somewhat unusual offense, the option offense that Rice presents. It's real hard to prepare for that. But number 30, Tad Van Pelt, has performed the role this week as the option quarterback on the scout team, and that is a very important role in getting this defense ready.
Huge role in the preparation for this Wolverine defense. The hardest part in simulating an offense like Rice, you don't run the option. You can't simulate the speed because the decisions and the action happen so quickly. When you have a guy like Van Pelt who has run that before, who understands it, he can give you a true picture in practice as to what it's going to be like in the game. Judging by the way this Wolverine defense has successfully defended it, I'd say he did a heck of a job.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, you're a school like Michigan, and we were talking about this, Randy. The quarterback Ken Hatfield is going to recruit is about 180 degrees different from the quarterback Lloyd Carr is going to recruit to play at Michigan. So you don't have a lot of people running option in practice at Michigan.
You could play players who are fast, but Van Pelt understands the option offense. He knows how to do the reads. He knows when to fake the pitch, when to take the pitch, when to do different things like that. So it's not just a matter of speed. It's a matter of understanding the game and the system and then being able to execute it.
Wolf's got a tight end over the middle. Travis Thompson with his second catch of the day, and that will move the chains in favor of Rice. Spytek and Stevens on the stop, and again stop the presses down in Houston. Rice not only has completed a pass to a tight end, they've done it 2 weeks in a row. 3 catches by tight ends in the first 2 weeks of this season. Remember, prior to last week, they hadn't completed a pass to a tight end in almost, well, a little over 2 seasons.
I don't think they're going to revamp their offense.
Yes,
but I do think it's worth noting.
You don't think the all-whack tight end will be coming from Rice
I don't
this
think
year?
Eric Coryell is coming back.
Airing it out. Ben Wolf got a man out there. Touchdown. Adrian Sadler ran past the defense. 68-yard pass play from Ben Wolf. We talked to Sadler earlier, Randy. He's the kid they brought over from cornerback to move into the offense to give them a big play dimension. He has that kind of ability.
And he's got outstanding speed. We saw that there after he caught the ball. When you've got a running back playing quarterback, you just don't think you're going to throw the deep ball. Wolf does a nice job of getting the ball out in front of Sadler, who makes the catch, and then it's just off to the races. You're not going to catch him, but I think that defense there, that's the last thing they expected, and it showed.
Boy, I guess so. You just don't expect that from a team like Rice, an option-oriented ball club.
Well, that won't be an acceptable excuse in the film room.
You know what? Somehow, some way, Lloyd Carr is probably saying, good, I've got something to coach on now. I could.
Absolutely. I think you're right, and I think it serves a purpose. You can't ever underestimate. You can't fall asleep, and you would think when your backup players are in there, they're not going to fall asleep.
Brandon Williams beaten like a drum by Adrian Sadler. That big play speed, fastest player or fastest running back, they list him on this team. He may be the fastest player on the Rice squad. So for Rice, on an otherwise cloudy afternoon, a little ray of hope. A little ray of sunshine for this team. And hey, Ben Wolf threw a nice pass. You talk about a guy who's been bouncing from offense to defense. Looked pretty good there, didn't he, on offense?
That's a good example of the end justifies the means. That didn't look the prettiest, and the throwing motion that he showed is not going to give John Navarre a run for his money, but he got the ball out there.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Our mobile speed pass drive of the game, brought to you by Mobile Speed Pass, today's way to play. There it is, 4 plays, 80 yards. Sadler, 68-yard touchdown reception.
They completed 2 passes in the same drive. I don't know if they've ever done that.
Well, they have almost as many passing yards as rushing yards to the Rice Owls.
Well, if that's going to happen, they're not going to be very happy with the end result, because if they're throwing the ball almost as much as they're running it, they're not having a lot of success.
Brandon Skeen with the kickoff. Good leverage in a somewhat short kick. Beard on the return. To the outside. Into Rice territory inside the 40-yard line. Ryan Beard, the redshirt freshman out of Houston, Texas, a 53-yard return.
When you have this kind of success on kickoff returns, we saw the punt return early. You've got to look at the special team concept. They teach blocking, they follow it, it's discipline, and these are the kind of results that you're going to have no matter who it is back there returning the kicks. That time, Ryan Beard, nice job.
Andy Minery, a quarterback, and B.J. Askew playing the tailback spot. Gets the call up the middle for short yardage. Askew, as I mentioned, took a swing pass 58 yards last week. Dave Armstrong is in at the fullback spot. Last season he played on defense and made a tackle in this game against Rice a year ago.
They're really high on B.J. Askew. He's an excellent blocker. If you're going to play fullback for Michigan, you've got to be able to block. You've got to be able to catch. They don't carry the ball a lot, especially from the fullback position. But they've got to be able to lead the way for those tailbacks. And B.J. Askew, big kid, 225 pounds, does a nice job.
Jim Barber, what do you say?
Official attendance today, guys, 109,778. That's impressive at any venue in this country. But here in Michigan, they're a bit disappointed. First time ever under 110,000 since the stadium expansion of a couple of years ago. I guess some of the folks from Texas gave their tickets back before it got started.
Don't know why, but
hardly a huge difference.
I think there'll be bigger disappointments.
Yeah, like the 68-yard touchdown pass a minute ago. Not a whole lot there. The Wolverines just trying to salt away the final 5 minutes of this ball game. They head to UCLA next week. Meanwhile, Kenny Hatfield and company get ready for Tulsa at home. Last week in that game against Houston, they had better than 40,000. 4th largest crowd ever at Rice Stadium down in Houston for that intra-city battle with the Houston Cougars.
And then they go back to playing at Oklahoma. So they got a couple of tough games in here.
On 4th down, Michigan unable to get the corner as the freshman Chris Perry is cut down short of the first down, and the Rice Owls will take over. Well, Kenny Hatfield's in the 7th year of his term at Rice, and he's got this program heading in the right direction, although today's score would not indicate as much. We'll be back. ESPN Plus presentation of Big Ten football. Our game of the week this week, the Michigan Wolverines Against the Rice Owls, Wayne Larrabee along with Randy Wright, Jim Barber. Rice takes over just over 5 minutes ago in this ball game. How about this? Ben Wolf has come on and really put some life into this Rice offense. 32-yard gain there.
This is a quarterback keep all the way. There are no pitchbacks back there. Just like a sweep with different blockers in front, and shows some nice speed. Almost outruns Lasur. Nice 32-yard run.
Well, Ken Hatfield may take a longer look at this youngster at quarterback.
You know, would you blame him?
No.
In fact, you'd almost question why he didn't. I know they were really high on Corey Evans, and Corey did all he could today, but Evans is also coming back off of a knee injury from last year that was hurt in the 4th game of the year. Missed the last 7 games last year. Missed all of spring ball. So even though Evans is a junior quarterback, he really has been out of ball for the last year because of the injury.
You say maybe showing a little rust?
Well, I think it just takes a little bit longer with this timing of an offense where everything has to be in sync. I think it does take a while to get back into it.
Hawkins, there is a penalty marker thrown in the middle of the line as Hawkins goes down at the line of scrimmage. Carl Diggs in the middle of the Michigan defense was there. Infraction is against the Rice Owls.
I do like, Wayne, what we've seen in the last 7, 8, 9 minutes from Rice. Defensively, doing a nice job.
Illegal chop block. Offense. 15 yards. End of the run. Repeat. 2nd down.
And you're down 38-0. You offensively, you come out, you go for the big play, you get the big play. Defensively, they make a nice stand. It'd be real easy after traveling all the way up here and getting beat 38-0, then 38-7 to give up, but yet they're continuing to try and do something. That's what they need to do, is remember, this is one game. Run our offense, give some of these kids an experience, and try and get into some kind of rhythm, something you can build on.
Something you can take with you to the next game, which again for them, as we mentioned, is Tulsa back home next week.
And they won't face a lot of Michigans the rest of the year.
Looks like another penalty coming up against Rice here. Appeared to be a false start or procedure penalty.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense. 5 yards. The down.
Take a look at the Value City Department Store play of the game. Actually, we'll give you a couple of plays right here. This is the first play from scrimmage of the game. The fumble by Evans on the snap. That led to this touchdown run. The first of a couple in the first quarter by Anthony Thomas. Kind of set the tone for the day, didn't it?
Boy, that first play, when you get the ball, you come out, you fumble a simple exchange. I think it did set the tone for the whole day.
Ben Wolf under duress, able to escape. And a diving grab is made. They're going to rule he trapped it. Evan Meeks, the intended receiver. Incomplete is how it's ruled, and 2nd down.
Nice job by Wolf trying to get away from that pressure and buy some time. You know, the ball wasn't complete. Right there, just avoids the sack, keeps his eyes down the field, and actually throws a nice ball right where you want it, away from the defender. I've been impressed with Wolf, with what he's been able to do.
Take a look at this. Ooh, did he get his hands under that ball? I guess not.
Tough to tell from that angle.
It really is. Tim Sutton not going to show us 5 or 6 more angles here. We're on to the next play. This is no NFL thing. Ben Wolf picks up yardage back inside Michigan territory. Stevens made the stop. So as we mentioned, for Michigan, it's on to UCLA next week for a big one out there in the Rose Bowl. And then back to the Midwest to take on Illinois, a team that beat Michigan here at Michigan Stadium a year ago, a game that really turned around Illinois' season.
And Michigan's too. Michigan, that game kept them out of the Rose Bowl. As if they had won that, they would have gone on. But that wasn't a fluke. Illinois played hard and maybe the most improved team in the Big Ten last year and deserved to win that game.
Maybe too much time. Play clock expires on the Rice Owls on this play. Delay of game against the Owls. Wolf at quarterback has hit 2 of 4 passes for 74 yards. He's also rushed the ball 6 times for 43 yards. The Owls are going to punt this one away. Well, Randy, what do you think? Michigan defensively sound here today, you'd have to say, except for the one big pass play in the fourth quarter. But for the most part, I thought a very impressive performance. Very disciplined defense out there.
Very disciplined, and I think that's what Jim Herman is going to be most pleased with. This was a different kind of game, one where you needed that kind of effort from your defense. He says his defense is kind of a no-name, maybe even searching for an identity. They have a lot of speed, more speed than they've had in a long time. No real names, no real stars, but they're guys that love to practice, and that, as a coach, is what you like to have, because they will get better if they like to practice, and he really likes that about this team.
Let's take a look at the Chevrolet player of the game. Make the case for John Navarre. 10 of 15, 129 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 TD passes in his first 2 collegiate games. How about that for a start?
Well, I think he had a lot of weapons around him to use today, and he took advantage of them. But I was impressed with how many times he stood in the pocket knowing he was going to get hit and still delivered the ball on time and accurately.
The Houston native Ryan Beard cut down to the backfield. Ross Lastly made the stop.
Well, I like what I've seen with this Michigan defense, because they will get better as they get older and more experienced, but there are no question marks about the Michigan offense. They are, even at quarterback, with Navarre playing full the first 2 games, Henson coming back from the injury. Navarre seems to be confident and very comfortable in that role.
Chris Perry roped down on the outside. John White, the free safety, made the stop. Gain of about 4 yards.
I think one of the questions that we're going to have answered over the next couple weeks with Navarre, in the last 2 games, this one and last week against Bowling Green, the game plan can be shortened because you don't need as many weapons. As you get into playing better teams like UCLA, Illinois, Wisconsin, they're going to have to expand that game plan because you're going to need those plays in there, and how much of that is Navarre going to be able to pick up?
But he is a redshirt freshman, so he was here last year. He's absorbed a lot of this offense. We'll see. Should be a first down on a quick toss by Minery to the outside. And Calvin Bell, a true freshman from Simi Valley, California. Next week, we'll be at Ohio State, Miami of Ohio against the Buckeyes. And some will see Iowa and Iowa State. 2 great games next Saturday from ESPN+. Check your local listings.
Buckeyes have a tough one tonight at Arizona, I believe.
Get a look at that a little bit later on. Chris Perry once again shredding the middle. Not going to say he's Anthony Thompson, but some of what he does, the way he runs the football, a little bit like Anthony Thompson. I beg your pardon, that was not Perry, but Ryan Beard on that carry. You have a great back like Thompson. I'm sure all these young kids watch the way he runs and at least subconsciously.
It's just the way he plays the game.
Yeah.
The way he does it all, not just in running the ball, but everything.
Tough catch for Calvin Bell. His quarterback laid him out a little bit. Minery put a little too much air under that ball, and Bell took an undercut move from Patrick Dendy. It's a first down, Michigan. Nice catch.
I think some of the fans thought he didn't touch the ground. See if he comes down and doesn't go down on the ground. They think that that play should have continued. Hard to tell from that angle, but regardless, it was a great catch.
It sure was. Final seconds of this one. Minery lets it go. Nice catch there by Calvin Bell out of play. For the final play of the game, Bell, the true freshman, as I mentioned, finishes with a flourish. 24-yard play. Our outstanding back of the game, Anthony Thomas. What a performance. Much of that work done in the first quarter of the ball game. Special thanks to Jeff Nelson, our statistician. We'll get a look at a couple of plays from the A train. This is one of the best in the country. You give him a sliver of an opening and he will power it through. He's a runaway locomotive heading downhill. Anthony Thomas, his 15th career 100-yard rushing day, leading Michigan to a 38-7 victory over Rice. And well, I'll tell you, some of the young kids from Michigan continue to shine. Andy Minnery is a redshirt freshman quarterback from Hamilton, Ohio. Now watch this one to Calvin Bell, a true freshman from California. A little pump fake there, lets it go. Bell with the tip and the reception. Yeah, it's the final play of a 38-7 game, but that's something these young kids can build on. So the band is happy. Much of this crowd of 109,000 plus heading for the exits. Michigan goes to 2-0, and they head into the strength of their schedule now. In the next couple of weeks, they will play at UCLA, at Illinois, and then come home on September 30th for a huge game against Wisconsin. Mike Gleason is standing by in Studio 66, and he will get us caught up to date on what's going on. Michigan 38, Rice 7, and we'll be back.
Today's Big Ten football game has been brought to you by Value City Department Stores and Value City Furniture Stores. Get the home team advantage. Mobile Speed Pass, today's way to pay. Chevrolet and the Chevrolet U.S. Olympic Countdown. And by leave your stress behind and take the time to get away. Polaris, the way out.
Hi, everybody. Mike.